Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to episode 11 of the Badger Call. A very, very well-travelled guest today in Steve Fisher. Me and Steve go quite far back. Probably first started playing with you in 2008-ish, 7. Little Eton.
2007 I came back to Little Eton,
Yeah, so 13 years. We've been around clubs together, rejoined now. Steve recently elected as second team captain of the non-season at the moment. So we'll get your thoughts on future plans for Meadows, but we'll go way back to when you first started cricket. Do you remember when you started?
Yeah, 1974, Mark.
long time ago.
I started as a junior at Little Eton. I started playing junior cricket on the park. And we had a coach called George Johnson, who a lot of people knew. Absolutely brilliant coach.
Legend of a bloke.
And as the years went on in the junior cricket, a great amount of players from that team all went on to play Premier Cricket, which just shows exactly how he brought players through.
And was it Nick Carlier? Did he play? He played Essex 2, did he? Was it your era?
Tim Carlier was a year older than me. Yeah. Nick Carlier was a year younger than me. So us three all played Prem Cricket at Hena.
Yeah.
Chris Mayer went to Denby. He was a couple of years younger. Adi Mayer played at Langley Mill and Horndon, I think. I'm trying to think if there's anybody. There's a guy called Steve Wellings who went to play for Qualcast. He started in our juniors many years ago. But basically, yeah, we had stacks and stacks. I was about the only one of my age, though, that actually played cricket.
Yeah.
It was quite strange, because what I was going to say to you was my first memories of getting in the junior team were under 15s, because we used to play under 13s, under 15s, I think. I think that was about it. And Paul Chambers, Chambo, was captain. And so he's 3 years older than me, so I would have been 12.
Yeah.
My first memory is a ball flying in the air when we were fielding, and I was under it. Well, I thought I was under it, and I kept running. Little did I know he was running the opposite direction, and we collided. And it was a great way to get into a team by smashing the captain, because he wasn't a big bloke.
Look, he's not that big a bloke, is he?
No. So obviously he's 3 years older than me, but we're about the same size.
Yeah.
But no, the expletives that came out then, I didn't get picked for another 2 games after that. Yeah, I learned the hard way in juniors, but yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved junior cricket at Little Eton.
Were you living in Little Eton then?
Yeah, well, I was born and brought up in Little Eton, so yeah. At Little Eton, as you well know, on the park in the summer, everybody plays football, cricket, tennis, bowls, every sport, and all the kids go down on the park. So cricket nights when we had, it's just like Belper Meadows, I assume is now. You know, it's gone a bit full circle for me. There's a lot of juniors involved.
Yeah, a lot of juniors, tennis, bowls, hockey.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just to coin why I've joined Belper Meadows really was for that reason, because it took me back to where Little Eton was, and the fact that if you've got loads of juniors, you've got hope. Little Eton went wrong because George Johnson retired and never really got off the ground after that. And then better junior players. There was no ambition at Little Eton, and we've just had a chat about John Easterhoff there, haven't we? And people like him, unfortunately, were so antiquated and old-fashioned that when I was there, you could only play for Little Eton if you came from Little Eton. There were rules.
Well, I joined in 2003, I think it was. I joined Little Eton, and then he wasn't overly happy that I was living in Elstree.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm 16. I'm like, I don't really get to pick where I live.
Yeah, and well, it was a rule, and you couldn't come. You either had to be born in the village or live in the village.
Yeah.
So it was great because, at a young age, there was loads of us. But as it got older, and players got better and the ambition of the club didn't increase, the better players went to play at the level they could play at.
Yeah.
So, although I was a bit of a late starter with that, because when I was 14, I had county trials, and I thought I was good enough to give it a go, but unfortunately, it was very cliquey. You know, if you came from Spondon or you came from Etwall School or something like that, the people running it were from those schools, so you didn't really get much of a chance. But my parents didn't have a lot of money, and people like Nick Carlier, Tim Carlier, Chris Mayer, Adi Mayer, their parents were quite rich, and they had a coach at Derbyshire. You must know John Brown.
Yeah.
Who used to do cricket all, I think it was, up at Chesterfield. Well, he used to coach them at the county ground. He used to have personalised sessions with them, and they all became a lot better than me as a junior. So I had to play catch up, really. The good thing was, in the juniors, we've got a guy called Dennis Carr, who was the first team captain at the time, and he used to watch us juniors playing matches. So I think it was about the age of 15, he came and watched us, and look at it, I got a 50. The next week, I'm in the first team, and the batting order was something along the lines of Tim Carlier 1, Gary Clues 2, Nick Carlier 3, me 4, Chris Mayer 5.
What were you back then? Did you consider yourself a batsman, or were you all rounder? Were you bowling leg?
I was never a leg spinner. Never even thought about leg spin. I was a fast bowler and a batsman. Probably a batsman first, because I did score a couple of tons at Little Eton batting. So, but at a young age, probably about 18 or 19, I got an accident in a swimming pool, and someone came off the high board into my shoulder. End of bowling career. So I had to think of something different. And I started bowling leg spin, or trying to bowl leg spin, and it wasn't particularly great. More like just chucking it up in the air and, you know, a bit like Boise. Sorry, Mr. Boys.
Searching for wicket.
Yeah. But basically, I mean, it did get wickets. It was just expensive. But around the mid-90s, I got asked by the chairman of Hena to go and play at Hena. So I had an opportunity, and I played sort of half a season first team, half a season second team. But the first team were in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So, but the influence on my career really then was a guy called Colin Taylor, who's, I will still say to this day, has been the best cricketer, or bowler anyway, that the County League's ever seen.
Yeah.
And I played against him last year. And I'll tell you what, I've never played against him before. And I did actually score 70-something, but not off him.
Yeah, he's still got it
in 13 overs he bowled, 18 for 1 4 1 6. And the rest of the time I was just trying to work out which way it was going.
Yeah.
Unbelievable bowler. And he's like 70-something.
Yeah, I played against him once, about 5-6 years ago. Yeah. He was still...
I would doubt that you had a clue.
Yeah.
Because I didn't, and I knew him and I've played with him, but you still can't read him. He's absolutely brilliant bowler. Well, anyway, so I went at Hena doing that, and I learned a lot there. I learned a lot about sledging, because you walk into bat at number 8 in the Premier League, and they all think, "Who the fuck are you?"
Is it still at the time where Hena's ground was hosting Derbyshire still?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. And it was captained by Neil Sparham, who was probably the best batsman I've ever seen. He's a guy that hit the first ball of an innings, first ball of a match for 6 out of Hena. And years later, I asked him why, and he goes, "I just play on length." And I just thought, first ball, really? But fair play to him. He was a brilliant player. And playing for Hena was unbelievably good at those years, because bowlers were trying to knock your head off, and never wore a helmet, so it was really quite frightening. But I used to hold my own. I used to get the odd 20s, batting number 8. Never got a bowl in the first team, never. Colin Taylor took all the leg spinning duties, so I was in there fielding more than anything, which I was quite good at when I was younger. Played a lot of second team as well, and got runs in the second team, and bowled in the second team. So that brought on my leg spinning career, really, by bowling in the second team and netting with Colin Taylor. I came back to Little Eton briefly. Had a bit of a fallout with Little Eton a few times, to be fair. Mainly John Easter type of things. And then, strange move for me, late 90s, I went to Blythe Bridge in Stoke.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Phil Tomlinson, who's still a friend now, he's captain of Duffield Thirds this year, I believe, but played for him for many years, and he's been a friend of mine for years and played football with him for years. He was at uni in Stoke, and he said, come and play for my team, Blythe Bridge. And I went there for 2.5 years or so, maybe 3 years. And a fabulous time. We used to be flying back up the A50 after a game for last orders in Holbrook. About 150 mile an hour in the car each. Callum and Karen were in the back seat and hiding under the seat. It was incredible. But it was good fun. It was totally different, but I needed to get back to Derbyshire. So when he finished uni, sorry to all the Nobby haters, but Phil went and played with his mates at Ambergate.
Yeah.
So I went to play with my mate Phil at Ambergate, playing in Ambergate 2s. That was the thought anyway. But I was getting 50 most weeks and getting 5 wickets every week. And so the first team said, play with the first team. Well, Callum was coming through as a junior as well, and I wanted to play in the same team as Tim and Phil. Anyway, our game got rained off, and somebody dropped out the first team, ironically, on the same time, and they got me to play, and I got Fifer.
Yeah.
So then I'm playing Division 2 with Ambergate, and that's when I bumped into Nobby. And just to dispel rumours, people saying he always talks about Ambergate, when he was at Ambergate, he used to tell me stories about playing at Ambergate years before that. So it's not a new phenomenon. He's never stopped.
Yeah.
I think
we put a pound in the hat every time he mentions Ambergate with
I agree in one respect, but without people like Nobby, cricket would be dead and boring.
Absolutely.
You know, so I've got a lot of time for him in that respect. And to be honest, some of the Ambergate stories are bloody good, because as long as he keeps me out of the stories, we're fine. Because I've heard he starts telling stories about me, and I obviously I'm a professional person now, and I can't obviously agree to any of them. But no, Ambergate was probably my prime as a player. I played there 6 seasons, and I won the bowling trophy the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th season. Got the most wickets and best average in all of those years, and that was with all the overseas players that you've heard of, Imran Ullah, people like that.
Yeah.
Loved it, and also found a way as well, because I'm playing against better players than I was, and I couldn't go and bowl bouncers to them, obviously, bowling leg spin. So that's when I learnt to use my mouth quite a lot, and we had quite a lot of banter. You know, someone called me fat once and said, "Why are you so fucking fat?" And I said, "Because every time I shag your fucking missus, she gives me a biscuit." And that sort of thing became commonplace, and I learnt that playing Premier League, because the higher up you get, the worse the sledging goes. And as much as
it just becomes personal, doesn't it?
I know. And as much as everyone everyone says that it's not allowed now. Obviously, as you know, I'm on the exec committee, so I can't obviously condone anything like that anymore.
Yeah, these videos are no way affiliated to the Derbyshire County Cricket League.
No, exactly. But no, I mean, these things were in the past, obviously, a long time ago, and when things were rife. I will say one thing: I've never been racist, and I've never been derogatory, apart from with humour. But when somebody smashes you for 4, what's your next reaction? Try and do that again. Basically, is what I used to say. Go on, do it again. I used to try and get under the skin, and getting under people's skin in cricket is all psychological, isn't it? Most sport.
Is that where, like, because your appeals can be quite, I don't know the word, frivolous sometimes. Is that? I think I remember you saying once that you can convince an umpire through your appeals when one's not out, but you can kind of talk an umpire into giving you a decision.
Basically, you have 2 weapons as a leg spinner. One is getting in the mind of the batsman, and the other one is getting in the mind of the umpire. Yeah. Now, some umpires I used to scare to death with my appeals. That's why I got louder and louder and louder with them. Some umpires would never give me a decision all day long based on the fact they thought I was too loud. I irritated them that much. So over the years, I've sort of mellowed, and now I talk to umpires. I go in umpires' change rooms. I remember playing for Little Eton in a game, and we got Roger Phillis and his ginger mate as umpire. I forgot his name. And the minute they walked onto the ground, I was virtually in tears, because for years and years and years playing cricket, whenever they umpired and I had an LBW shout, they used to laugh at me. They used to say, absolutely no chance. And so I walked into the umpire's changing room while everyone else was warming up, and I sat down with them, and I was virtually in tears. And I said, look, I said, it's been nice to see you've turned up. I said, I think I'm going to go home. And they said, why? I said, well, I know, I really do like you both, but as soon as we get on the pitch, every time I appeal, you laugh at me. And I said, and that's wrong. I said, you tell, and then the other side of the coin, you always laugh at me and tell me I never turn the ball. I said, so if I pitch it on the stumps and it hits the pads, it's out, isn't it? You know, because I'm not turning it, obviously. Anyway, came back in at the end of the game. They gave me 4 LBWs between them. So it rather worked. And it's a case of you have to know your umpire. It's like football referees. Some referees used to let you kick shit out of anybody, so you could fly in with challenges all day long. Some didn't like you talking to them because they just booked you for talking to them because they thought they were a headmaster and whatever. So you had to learn who was reffing. So it's the same as umpiring. You learn who's the umpire. And so batsmen were one thing. Umpires were a different kettle of fish. I got in trouble once, I think, if you remember, at Little Eton in maybe 2009, I think it was. We're playing against Dunstall on the park, and it was the infamous thing where Bod was having a go at Jamie Rowland.
Yeah.
It was quite friendly banter, but the umpires thought it was being abusive, even though Jamie and Bod are obviously on the same team. Both me and Bod got in trouble with both umpires. I asked one question of an umpire when he said not out. I just said, where was it going? And that just sparked off a hell of a lot of rows. And then when I was batting, I actually top scored and got 45, but I hit a ball, smacked it through the covers. Only somebody dived and stopped it, and I shouted "fuck" at the top of my voice, so it got reported. And bless his cotton socks, Martin, being chairman of the cricket league and whatever, and he instilled the disciplinary. Martin Allsop, they invited me and Bod to go to the disciplinary at the rugby club. Anyway, you're only allowed to appeal on 3 different counts, and it has to be something very strong. I appealed on all 3. I was the first person that said I'd ever managed to get in a meeting based on all appeals against every point. And at the end of it, they quashed my 8-match suspension, but they made it 4 matches because they said, we have no other choice. You admitted shouting "fuck off" at the top of your voice. Even though we know it was to yourself, people were walking around the edge and people heard. So it was a bit of an eye-opener for me because I'd never missed cricket before. You know, I never missed cricket matches, as you well know. And so it really upset me that, and I was transferred to Home Wood as well. They headhunted me and I went to play for Home Wood. Because Little Eton got relegated in 2010, and I went to play and stay in Division 4 at that stage. I didn't want to go any lower because I'd never played any lower. And the first 4 games I played for Homewood, well, I didn't play them because I was suspended. So it was like, that's when I changed as a cricketer, I think. So I didn't become as good a bowler, I don't think, anymore, because I didn't have the weapon of the abusing batsman, I suppose. So I had to find other ways again, and you know, it was a bit difficult, but I had to learn to turn the ball now and again, I suppose, and find a good googly. So yeah, I mean, I had disciplinary problems once in my life, and as I say, it was wrong, but I didn't actually do half the things. And the umpires were so thick they never even turned up at the bloody meeting. So you know, and one of them was illiterate. I'm not going to name his name, but one of them was totally illiterate, couldn't even write. So how he managed to fill a report in, I have no idea. But one of the reasons, Mark, I got involved in the exec committee, and when I got invited to join it, was one, so I could become a bit of a link between people that are still playing and how players feel, and how the administration of the game has to be, because it's not an easy thing. And sometimes we take that for granted. You know,
I've had this
we all
discussion with a
hate,
few
we
people.
all hate used to. Sorry, say again.
I've had this discussion with a few people. It does sometimes feel like the league has lost touch with the players and what they actually want and how the game's played these days.
That's exactly right. But what you will find is now there's a guy called Dave Fern who's the chairman. You're too young to remember him, but he used to commentate on Radio Derby. He used to do like the Derby County or Burton Albion, especially. He's well in touch with the game, but mainly there's Tom Poynton now on the committee. Myself, Ian Clark-Gripper, Andrew Redfern, although I didn't used to get on with Andrew Redfern playing cricket, he's actually very good for the committee. He's very analytical and he's sort of the disciplinary side of it out, which Martin Alsop doesn't particularly like because it was his baby. And there's now a woman called Jane Huff from Opbrook, who's the scorer at Opbrook.
Jane, scorer. Yeah.
She's now on the committee.
Yeah, she scores Derbyshire Seconds games. So
yeah.
She's down at Meadows every year.
But she's obviously in touch, and there's obviously Adam Hitchcock, the umpire, as well.
Yeah.
And he put the new book together, by the way, this year. He was quite insistent we needed a book, and I agreed. I said the handbook missing for a year was incredibly bad because if it was a rain game and whatever, people don't know how many overs they're supposed to bowl still. And it was, people got very confused. There's so many rules, and if I could ever do anything about it, I'd get the rules completely rewritten and very simplified because I think cricketers don't need that complication.
I've got a lot of opinions on the rules, and it just seems that we've got to a point now where we've had so many rules revisions that the handbook's got far too big, and they just need effectively resetting.
Yeah, exactly, and you're dead right. But also, I've heard a lot of comments, Chris White and people like that, and they're right that what would wrong with every league playing 40 overs, 8 overs a bowler, 5 bowlers? Yeah. What would be wrong with that? And then win-lose cricket with bonuses.
I've just recorded with Jared and Nick before. It's about the differences between Australian cricket and British cricket at club level.
Yeah.
And all their club cricket is run by Cricket Australia, and everyone across Australia plays the same rules.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Meadows play Derbyshire County Cricket League on a Saturday, and then play Mansfield and District League on a Sunday, and they're bordering counties, and they play completely different rules.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't make any sense at all. Every county plays different rules.
I feel the ECB should just be uniformed rules across the country.
The Premier League, all the captains in the Premier League are on the same WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
So they vote between themselves, and they've basically made their own rules for the Premier League this last year.
Yeah.
So they had win-lose cricket, and they had a bonus scheme. I don't see anything wrong with that, because when teams are. I've played against a Belper Meadows actually for Little Eton, I think it was, a few years ago at Belper, and I don't know what we scored. I don't know, 200 odd. Belper blocked from ball one.
Yeah.
There was not anybody who was ever going to try and score a run. And it kills it.
And I kind of like the point if there was a point system where teams could still do that, but it's not punishing the teams who win the game effectively.
Yeah.
Like someone could score 250 and the opposition could bat for 156. That team who scored 250 has won that game. But why should they be punished by getting less points for the opposition not achieving the total what they should get to?
But on a slightly different subject, Mark, it's a bit antiquated because back in the day in Central Derbyshire League, when Little Eton were in that, before we joined the County League, it used to be 46 overs, and it was 23 overs a bowler.
Yeah.
So this is another reason why juniors packed up playing at Little Eton, because there was Paul Carman and Snowy Easter, John Easter's brother, and they used to bowl 23 overs each, and they'd be moaning at tea time, all tea, how knackered they were. Yeah. And those youngsters were like, well, why didn't we get a bowl?
I think if you go to say 40 overs with 8 overs a bowler, or 50 with 10 overs a bowler, where you have to have 5 bowlers minimum in your team, it's going to
that's right.
It's going to improve the standard of players because they've got to bowl.
The because I'm on the committee and I hear what people say, the reason that they don't do 50 overs across the board, which I've always thought would have been, if England are doing it and the counties are doing it, why aren't we doing it? But
Exactly.
there's juniors and old people that play in the lower leagues that keeping their attention span for 50 overs seems a long time to be in the field.
And I think it was a very good decision a few years ago to drop the bottom couple of divisions to 40 overs. I think that was a really good decision.
Yeah, but to me, people have got less time as well, no matter how old they are, and all these sort of things. So why don't you just drop everybody to 40 overs?
Yeah.
Because it's less time for everybody to play then,
Yeah.
and you still can make it quite easy with eight overs a bowler, five bowlers. Everyone's contributing.
The other question is, like, in those bottom divisions, they obviously dropped it to 40 overs because they wanted to finish earlier, but then they start half an hour later than everyone else. So what they effectively lose in that half an hour is what they aren't playing the game.
They're gaining with one and they're giving it away with the other.
Yeah.
But also people work shifts, and there was a time playing at Homewood that there was a bloke who used to turn up in his kit. I know it's very village, but in his kit, like half an hour after the start of every game.
Yeah.
Because he was working wherever. So this is why I don't understand the Premier League and Division 1 and whatever. They're playing on like 12 o'clock starts and things. And
I don't think I think society's changed that much now that if you're working on a Saturday, you're working on a Saturday, aren't you? People aren't working Saturday mornings anymore. I know there is shifts, but I don't think it affects that many players.
Well, I mean, it's everything. Everyone has their own story to tell on that one, Mark. And this is why the Cricket Exec Committee is such a difficult job, because you're not dealing with one opinion or two opinions. You're dealing with 220 odd teams, 90 something clubs.
Yeah.
You're dealing with all those opinions and then all the players. So how many different players are there involved in all the opinions within a club?
That's why I'd love to chat with some people from other clubs and just get their views on it.
Oh yeah, and you'll find, you go to the league AGMs and things like that. So many people, so many different opinions. But this is why, coming up to the AGM, every club's got a chance to change the rules.
Yeah.
And they can put their proposal, which the league can agree with or not, but ultimately goes to a vote.
Yeah.
So, if the clubs want something, or if Belper certainly wants something, you only have to ask. They can only say no, can't they? But you'll get support on a lot of things as well. So you never know. But if I was someone at Belper now who fancied it, I'd be putting a structure together that said 40 overs, 8 overs bowler, and I'd put that as a proposal across the leagues. The Premier League might object. Then maybe they'll themselves a little bit and like playing 50 overs. I don't know, but
I don't mind it being down to 50 overs down to Division 2, and then below 2, 40 overs.
Yeah.
I think
you know why they came up with 46, by the way, don't you?
No. I just have this perception that one day they all walked into rooms, someone went, I want 40 overs, someone went, I want 50, and someone said, I want 45, and they didn't want the person who had 45 to get his way, so they gave him 46.
No, it was something like they had to bowl the same amount of overs from both ends, so they couldn't do 45. So it had to be an even number.
It's baffling, isn't it?
It is baffling, but it was simply something like that. But why they couldn't think of 40 or 50, I do not know. But it was ticking bottom, people like that who worked out how long everyone had and how many minutes per over and things like that. And they worked out when the time got dark and when the clocks went back. And it was all very, very scientific, but a load of crap, in my view.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where were we? Oh yeah.
So you just left Little Eton.
Which time?
The second time.
Little Eton, Blythe.
You just been banned.
Oh right. I went. I was at Amblegate I had a year at Alistry, which I found was the biggest mistake I'd ever made. I didn't do badly. I got wickets and everything, and it played Division 2. But Alistry, I thought were like Little Eton. I thought they were very, very, very poorly run, no ambition, no planning, I just thought So when Little Eaton and Alistair tried that joining up together a few years ago, which I know you were in the middle of that, I thought that was quite funny because you got two shit clubs then. You know, and it never made a good club.
Well, I went and played that ruling. What got made was supposed to favour Little Eaton more because Alistair apparently had a lot of players which they could lend to us, and he actually worked out in that season with Little Eaton lend Alistair more players.
Yeah.
Playing, I played a game for Alistair towards the end of the season, which you knew where I used to live, like basically backed onto Alistair's ground.
Yeah.
When Little Eaton folded, it would have made perfect sense for me to join Alistair because the ground was literally behind my house. And we went there and played this god awful game in Division 8. Got out when played a shot and someone caught it and he bounced about that far in front of him and claimed the catch. So my first thing of Alistair is me walking off a pitch shouting abuse at every player on the pitch. We went for tea and one of the sandwich. Went up to the sandwiches and picked it up and opened it up and it was bread and butter. I was like, I forgot to put the filling in this sandwich.
That's just not on, is
Put
it?
it back on. Went on to the next sandwich, opened it up, and it was bread and butter. I was like, no, they've just served bread and butter as a sandwich. And I think they just expected me to make a crisp sandwich or something, and that was
you never played for
the
Alistair.
major reason why I didn't join Alistair.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had a year at Alistair, and then Bod phoned me up and said, I'm at Elvo, we've just got promoted to the Prem, but I've been asked to come and captain Little Eaton. And I know there was people like Wilton and Musket, I think, that were captain and vice captain. But he said, I'd like you to come along as vice captain. And I said, to be honest, I don't like dropping down from Division 2. And he was saying, well, I'm dropping down from potentially being the Premier League. So, you know, I said, well, we've got a bit of a project. We're both Little Eaton people. You know, it would be great to get the club back somewhere near where it was. So we did that with the greatest intentions in the world. In the first year, I think we actually got relegated. But then we got promoted back again, which is where I came in contact with Homewood because we beat them for the first time and went up with them, I think. So they started to know about us. And so I had 4 years at Little Eaton, but then I was given the captaincy, and then because Bod was leaving and he'd been asked to go to Alfreton or somewhere, I think.
Yeah, Alfreton, yeah.
And then John Easter and Brian Coleman pulled me into a room and said, Bod actually has decided to change his mind, so we want him to be captain. And I said, whoa. You know, I've been appointed captain. This is not on. It's typical Little Eaton, though, isn't it? And Andy Jeffrey, who's been at Little Eaton forever, we won't talk about his latest pursuits, but he actually he walked away from the club and left the club based on that. What happened? Anyway, the club I think broke up bit by bit from then, and I went to play for Homewood. Had a couple of years there, and then I went to Brailsford and had 2.5 years there, but fell out over the captain, who's actually a friend of mine and now on the committee of the Derby Exec, Gripper Ian Clark.
Yeah.
And I think whilst I was at Brailsford, I think I had my proudest moment maybe in cricket. Yeah, probably proudest moment. We were playing Brailsford against Derby Connors at Brailsford, and we were batting second, and we needed 40 to win off 4 overs. And at the crease were me and Callum.
Yeah.
Batting 8 and 9. I might add I was number 8. But I do not to this day know why Callum was batting number 9. But anyway, so I started hitting a few, and I got a few 6s and a few 4s and whatever. And Callum stayed with me. And then it went down to the last ball, and we needed 6 to tie, and Callum smashed it into the golf course. Straight 6. I've never seen him hit a shot like that in my life.
No, not many people have.
No, well, to be fair, in recent years he has done. There's a big mess at the top of Spondon's Pavilion where he, playing for Denby, put a 6 into the slates there and made a mess of it.
I mean, he's always been capable. He just doesn't want to play it.
Well, he doesn't want to play now. No, I think he's better at golf, but I think he wants to play cricket, but he wants to play golf more. And the Denby year did Callum. He was totally and utterly abused by the players and the captain.
Yeah.
not in a physical way, obviously, but the way he was batting a different number every week, and he went down from 1 to 11, by the way, and he was in there for his batting. They never even.
I think in consecutive weeks that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Bod, to be fair, at the time was suffering the same as Callum. He was being put down the batting order as well. It was ridiculous. So
that just seems to have been Bod since he's been at Denby.
Yeah.
You don't know where to look for him on the scorebook.
Yeah, well, this is the thing about captaincy, and this is why I wanted to get more of it, because going on from Brailsford, halfway through the year with captaincy not being given to me at Brailsford, and the way that it was being captained, he was losing the dressing room. So I left. Now, 2 players from the same club can't join the same club, so I left and went to Hena, and Callum went to Lecleaton.
Yeah.
So we both left halfway through the year at Brailsford, not that we wanted to, but because I've never done that before in my life. But I went to Hena, played with some really good players in the first year at Hena, but it was on the outs because the ground was being taken over by the football bit by bit. The council were trying to sell it off. So the players started leaving one by one. And by the time I left Hena, I was captain at Hena, but of the first team, playing a decent standard of cricket with no players.
Yeah.
We were turning up with 10 every week, and the second team had 11. But no one from the second team wanted to play for the first team. And I wanted to be captain, but it was very difficult to captain a sinking ship when people weren't interested.
Yeah.
So again, getting back to the Belper thing, I jumped at the chance really when I heard Paul Allen was doing the coaching and some of the methods and what the intention that Jamie said, where you've got a structure to it, and everyone's going to be buying into it, and they're all going to be there on time. They're all going to be in the kits. That it just sounded professional, and it's easier to captain something like that.
Yeah.
Because my thing, people being late, people not playing, all these things, I hate it.
Yeah.
I got divorced over it years and years ago. I play every game. I don't understand why people don't, but I don't understand why people think it's okay to turn up a little bit late and just drag some kit on and not warm up, and you're planning to fail straight away.
Yeah.
Whereas the Belper way, which is a bit based on a lot of the Premier models like Spondon and Ticknell and clubs like that, it's the only way forward, and it's the best way to teach the kids, get them in the habit. It's the way I was taught, but unfortunately, as I say, there's not many left.
Obviously, like Paul Allen wanted to implement this year the same thing as Spondon, like every team does the same warm up before the game.
Sure.
And I was planning, and that was going to be implemented from like under 13s, under 15s. They were all going to do the same warm up before their games. So you just know it. So it's just there. It's just ingrained into you from an early age.
There was a captain at Ambergate called Paul Trowell, Troggy we used to call him, and he was captain of me and Nobby at the time. And his philosophy when it came to selection was he was too busy. He was at work. He was to work nights and lates and whatever. So I was cricket manager there, and I used to pick the first team and the second team and the third team, and then phone all the players up individually. And it was very difficult for one person, but I managed it for like 5 years. But one of the things he said was, don't pick me 5 bowlers. He says, because I won't be bowling them and you'll be wasting somebody. So there was 2 opening bowlers and myself and another guy called Dave Goodall, who used to play for the Yorkshire Seconds. He was a gun barrel straight, brilliant bowler. So there's Phil Mason and Imran Ullah. So there's the 4 of us. And if I had a bad week, which was not that often in those years, Shahid Mohammed, Johnny, was the opening bat and who could bowl occasional off spin. So they had a 5th bowler. But what Troggy insisted was you had number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 batsmen, 7 wicketkeeper, 4 bowlers. That's what I want to make my team to be. I'm not going to take an opening bowler out of the second team who's a good player and then not bowling. Yeah. So if a bowler was ever missing, and in those days that the team at Ambergate was set in stone, hardly ever changed. But if it ever did, a bowler would come in for a bowler or a batsman for a batsman.
Yeah. I think that's what it should be.
What you don't want to do is have the third team, for example, lose their opening bowler and I give him an over or not at all.
Yeah.
That would be wrong because both teams would lose out.
Absolutely.
So if I want a batsman, I'll take a batsman and I'll bat him. might not be in opening position if he might bat 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, but a batsman will be a batsman and a bowler will bowl. And to me that makes so much sense. You know, there's no rocket science involved.
I think that was a big thing. What changed when you and Bob came in at Little Eton, that second teamers weren't getting taken to first team just to field, just to bat 11 and field fine leg to fine leg. Like you did utilise. I know the second team back then wasn't the greatest of standards, but if I came up, I tend to got a bowl. I tend to bat 7 or 8. When Ian came up, he got used as a batsman because he was still handy at that level. Like, he's got a shocking technique, but he always came off. He'd always score a few runs.
Yeah, I mean, it's horses for courses all the time, because I remember when I first started with me and Bod doing it, I was batting at number 7, I think, 6 or 7, and scoring a quick 20 or 30 or whatever. And in the end, one thing I really detest is people wasting overs at the beginning of a game, because a game might be 46 overs, but you could waste 5 or 6 straight away, and then you've only got a 40 over game. You know, it's like, so opening batsmen, I think Chris Hankinson in particular used to annoy me, is the fact that he couldn't get the ball off the square for I don't know how long, and by then you're 10 for none off 10, and then you get out. And then you just wasted 10 overs. So I said to Bod, I said, open me, I'll open. I said, and if I don't score, I won't waste any overs, because I'm just going to smash it, or try to. And occasionally it came off, occasionally it didn't. But I remember Roger Bolstridge, somebody I couldn't stand from Ashover. Well, I might have to play with this year if we play for Derbyshire over 50s, by the way, which I'm not looking forward to that at all. But he was opening bowler, and he had all the best figures in the league and whatever. By his third over, he was bowling off spin, because I'd smashed him all over Little Eton. Yeah. And I just thought it's a different way. It's a different way to do things. It's not something I'd always advocate, but horses for courses, depending on what score you're chasing. Because I remember, struggling getting 120 at Brailsford once, and we thought we'd done really well. It was really horrible conditions, and we played Walton or somebody, and they knocked it off in about 5 overs. But, it's like
a completely different pitch.
Yeah, well, you say that, but it's just attitude.
Yeah.
In our minds, you can't bat on that pitch. It was a really difficult pitch. In their minds, bugger it, they're shit, we're better than them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it comes off. There's that guy called Womble that plays for Clown. He smashes it from ball 1. If you've got your fielders in the right place, you probably get him out. But otherwise, what he just thinks like Neil Sporham used to. If the ball's there to be hit, he hits it. Just like you play. It's no different. See ball, hit ball.
I've changed a bit now.
But there are, another thing hopefully I can bring to Belper is that I watched them last year about 3 or 4 times just get rolled. Total collapse. And I thought...
Oh, yeah, I sat with you at Darley-Dale, didn't I?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I thought, what a nightmare. Why are people giving their wicket away? Who's not told them how to bat? There was no direction. They were just walking out there and then walking back. And I'm thinking, whoa. And that game at Darley-Dale, didn't Callum get like 45 or something?
Yeah, he got a few, yeah.
He was there, and when he got out, they just collapsed. And it was like, but I blame, look more at the top of the innings, because people were batting slowly and getting none and getting out.
Yeah.
Whereas you either bat fast and get out or stay in, or you bat slow and make sure you don't give it away. But you could always rotate. People dropping dead bats and not running. You could play into space, rotate into space. You get 4 and over doing that quite easily.
Game management, isn't it?
Exactly. I've got a little story to tell you from last season. It was one game. I can't remember who it was against. It was for Homewood, and we were chasing 180. And the 2 openers went out to bat, and they were quite slow, but just for the first over. And then they had a little chat after 1 over. And all of a sudden, we're 30 for 2 off 8 overs. So they started slow, then they tried to up it, but they got out. And 30 for 2 off 8 overs, chasing 180. So me and I was at 3, this young lad was at 4. Anyway, after 23 overs, we got to 90 for 2. So we've got 60 runs in 15 overs. So we've gone up 4 and over by just pushing and running, basically. there was the odd fall, but mainly dropping the bat and running and pushing into gaps. And so by this stage, at half time, at 23 overs, we're 90 for 2. And the opposition field is really in because we've been pulling them in by dropping the bat and running, and really frustrating them. Do you know how many overs it took to win that game? And there is possibly two answers of doing it. What we could have done is carry on batting the same and get to 181 off 46 overs, doing it properly. But it was getting quite dangerous because all the field was in. We scored the next 91 runs in 7 overs. We smashed the fucker. Pardon my French. We absolutely lumped it. And we had a competition, and he actually beat me. I was 67 not out. He got 68 not out. But the point being that
I know an individual that would kill you as well.
Yeah, it did kill me. The little bugger. I got 100 the week after, by the way. That killed him. But the point was, at 30 for 2, I've seen so many teams then try and hit the way out of trouble, and they end up 60 for 5, 60 for 6, and then the game's over. You're not chasing 180 then.
Yeah.
So you have to learn when to do it and when not to do it, and how to do it. So you bring the field in, then you hit it over them or through them, or you do that from the start and they all go back, and then you take the singles one way or the other. Play kidology with them, but you've got to get to your target without losing wicket. If we were 30 for 5, there's no way we'd have been hitting that 90 off 7 overs.
Yeah.
Because the chances of being out and then the game going, and that's what Belper did last year, in my opinion. The game was there to be won a lot of the time.
I mean, the second team last year, I think we were top second.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
Going into August, and then that Darley Dale game was the first week in August, and that was just the catalyst for the rest of the season. I mean, it was just repeat.
Yeah, and the thing was,
and this was one of the obviously I wanted to be captain last year. Obviously couldn't with my hands, and then Rory being born and that. But obviously, one of the reasons why I wanted you coming in as captain is just adding street smart into cricket, into the team. Like you've been there, done it. You know cricket. Like you know a management of a game. And
you can only learn that through years. I mean, there's lots of young captains that are very good, and I won't take that away from them. But the experience is a massive thing. As long as you actually learn from it, rather than just carry on doing the same thing, because you've got to reassess. People playing cricket years ago, if you scored 180, you win a game. Now you might score 280. Depend because all the kids these days are like watching the 2020 and smashing out the ground.
Yeah.
But those people that will get 280 one week might get all out for 80 the next week.
Yeah.
So you've got to judge it, but you've got to have the players buying into it, which helps if everybody's disciplined and they're listening.
Yeah.
They're buying into it.
And it's knowing their role in the team as well.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
I think there's especially in the lower levels of cricket, people just turn up to play cricket. They go out there and they've got their own individual game plan. There's no real team game plan.
They won't have Belper anymore, will they?
But I think like the plan more this year was everyone knowing their own game, everyone knowing what their role in the team is, and again it bites back to that, just being more professional about things.
Oh, there's no. I hope that Nobby won't object to me relaying a private conversation I had with him before I joined, basically. But when I was joining, what I said to him, because he told me he was an opener. And I said, Nobby, with the greatest respect, I know you. I played with you at Ambergate. You ain't a bleeding opener. Well, you got a hole in your arse. I said, and if you're going to play second team cricket and be effective for the team, and if you want to keep wicket, you bat at 7. Keepers bat at 7 in general.
Yeah.
Not a bad place for you because you can win a game on your own there. You score your quick 30 or 40 then when we're chasing, that's a brilliant time for you to bat and get impetus when we're batting first. And he's much the same as you, really, Mark, because if you were keeping, I'd say the same to you. I'd say you bat at 7 as well.
Yeah.
Because either of you can hit the ball. But what I would say is both of you would not be capable of blocking out for 30 overs.
I can now. That's mine now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
bored.
I know, but Leopard don't change his spots. And last year, when I was trying to be sensible, I started smashing it. I couldn't stop myself then. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't want someone to come back in next season or this season, depending on when we play, and just not give a shit and just, throw the bat on the floor and walk off and go and get a drink and say, well, it was the batsman's fault. No, 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 no. 1 to 11, everybody has a job.
Yeah,
Everybody.
absolutely.
It's an 11-man game. It's like the bowlers. The bowlers can't win the games on their own.
No.
They've got people like the slips and the wicketkeeper that catches the ball. They've got people out in the outfield that stop the ball for them. So
Yeah.
it's not just.
One of my big things last year is in what I said right at the very start of the season before the first game is I can set you as a field as a captain. I think I know what I played enough cricket to set a generic field for each type of bowler, but I prefer it if a bowler knew his own field, knew what he wanted to bowl to.
Oh, but experienced bowlers probably will.
Yeah.
But younger bowlers would just look at the captain or look at the wicketkeeper and think, where's the put them?
That's why you want them to learn, don't you? Like, this is the field I've set to you. Are you going to what delivery are you wanting to bowl? So I can set the field for you.
Well, this is where there's a thing with Callum actually. Callum used to be quite sharp and quite a decent bowler, but his stop ball was just slightly wide and slightly short of a length.
Yeah.
And this is where me and Bod disagreed a bit, and lots of captains I've fallen out with over this one. Callum, when he bowls that, now and again it's slightly too short or slightly too wide, he gets hit to backward point for 4. Bang. Every time. And I said, that's where you need to put your fielder on the boundary. From the first over, if needs be, backward point. Because that will frustrate a batsman. If he's played a cracking shot and gets 1 for it. Whereas if you leave the field up, he's getting 4 every time Callum bowls that ball. And Callum might bowl 5 good balls, but he'd be playing in the Premier League if he could bowl 6 in a row. So you've got to get your field right. Now, the second incident was nothing to do with Callum, but I think Callum might have been playing. I was captain. Yeah, he was. I was playing for Homewood. For Hina, captain against Homewood, against my old club. And we went up there with a poor side, including about 4 or 5 second team players, one of whom who couldn't even move, who's the captain of Hina now, I think, actually. And a guy called Pip Stone batting for Homewood. Now, Pip Stone was one of those that, he used to call himself a big hitter. But actually, he used to splice everything and bottom the bat, everything. So a normal field wouldn't get him out because it would drop over the top of them.
Yeah.
And so when he was batting, I just got the field 10 yards back, every player 10 yards further back than normally. And within an over, he was out. Because he was out caught, because he spliced one just to where it would normally have gone into no man's land.
Yeah.
So know your bowler, know your batsman. Every week, call me sad, but every week I'll see who we're playing the week after, and I'll see who's batting where, who bowls when, what they're doing. And although I'm a big believer in look after your own game and get your own game right, I think it's poor planning if you don't know who you're playing against and what they're likely to do to you. So, you've got to have a plan for them. And like Womble, when Little Eaton played Clown, Womble from the first ball was hitting over extra cover for 6. So a year later or 2 years later, I went with Brailsford to play Clown, and Womble opens the batting, and I said to the captain, Matt Dowling, I think it was at the time, I said, you want a long, deep extra cover right on the boundary? He says, yeah, we'll see in a bit. I says, well, I'm telling you, that's where he hits the ball. Anyway, he hit 4s and 6s there for about 4 or 5 overs, got himself to 50 off 5 overs. And then I turned around to Matt and said, are you going to fucking listen? And he put Callum there, and the next ball, Callum caught him there. It was ridiculous. So as a captain, again, I learned something that day as well. I thought to myself, well, if I'm captain, I will listen. Not necessarily do everything that everyone asks or suggests, but you've got to listen, because if you don't listen, people will start laughing behind your back when things go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people buy into things.
The thing is, you're only one pair of eyes, aren't you?
Exactly.
Cricket is a 360-degree game. Everyone's seeing it from different angles.
Yeah.
So someone might people might see things what you're just not seeing because the angles you're looking at it
Well,
from.
imagine
Someone
what
might
happens
have
when I'm
information
bowling.
on a batsman.
Imagine what happens when I'm bowling, Mark. I'm captain, I'm bowling. So I can't see, for example, that my fielder's been sneaking in off the boundary.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they launch one and I turn around and think, where's my fielder? But if somebody else got the eyes, that's, you know, and we have that relationship with that, people can come and have a little whisper in your ear and say, he's sneaking in there, Gaff, you know, be careful. So straight away you put him back, but you might not see it.
Yeah.
And if everyone's working to the same goal and they all care enough, then you win the game, in my view. And I think that Belper have got some very talented players, from what I've seen, and I think they're very capable.
So what were your first reactions? Cause obviously we had like 3 net sessions, so you've not really had that much of a chance to see it. But you saw like the way Paul trains in winter.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect for me. I'm a strict disciplinarian when it comes to things like that, and the fact that people were doing it without, you know, it's not like the naughty school kids. You know, I can't be bothered. There was none of that. So everyone was buying into it. They listened. They didn't also. There was no people sniggering, talking behind his back. There's none of that. It was all very professional.
Yeah, and you had some like very like senior players there that day. So people like Pip Nightingale played cricket for a long time. Ian Thompson, these fit like third team at cricket, where they are at the latter ends of their careers, playing in the lower levels, and are willing to embrace that change to just improve themselves as cricketers.
Yeah, but the younger ones as well, they did as they were told. They were listening. They were, you know, there was only one time I had to have a word with Paul and say in my net in the second week, I think it was, and I said, I think something needs to be said here, because these players will not play for me if they play like they're netting, because they were just trying to smack every ball at a time. I'm not going to name names, it doesn't matter, they'll know who they are. You don't play like that. You play the ball in its merit, and you play in nets how you would play.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
You train to a match intensity.
Yeah. So that's why we were doing like 2 batsmen batting at the same time, and I was making them go for quick singles. Yes, go. Yes, go. Because that's how I'll play. Because if you can't, if the bowling's quite tight, there's nothing worse than letting a bowler get away with a maiden.
I think especially in Meadows, no one should bowl in maidens at Meadows because it's so big. It's such a big ground. There's gaps.
Now and again, so might take a chance, might play one over the top, but whatever the intention is, if you can't score boundary, I forget who it was that said it. If you can't hit to 6, hit to 4. If you can't hit to 4, hit to 3, and so on. So obviously, we're not playing 20-20. We're not playing that. We're playing 4-6 overs. But there's so many different ways to score runs, and as long as you keep that scoreboard moving, you'll be in a position. So,
yeah, you see like the best players in the world at the moment, like Kohli, Williams, and Root. They're blinking around 30. They're not hitting boundaries.
They're manoeuvring it.
Yeah, just getting off strike, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, that's it, and that's where club cricketers go wrong a lot, because they could get themselves loads of runs without even trying.
Many deliveries, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know if we've been through everything, but I played for Rolleston a couple of games. So when I was at Homewood, I was playing for Derbyshire over 50s by then, which was one of the best things ever. Loved doing that because it was Wednesday in the week, and it was always at a lovely ground. But I got asked to play for Rolleston, and I played 3 games. I played versus Ticknell in the Premier 50 over, and I'm bowling Borrington and Wood. So they treated me with respect. I never got hit for 1-4. So they treated me with total respect, loved it, and I thought, bloody hell, I'm too old for this game, but I was doing all right. And then I played a T20 day where you have the 3 clubs on the same day. And I played against Swarkston and Chesterfield. And when we played against Swarkston, I got Gary Park out, which is probably my best ever wicket. Not through the best ever ball, but the best ever person to get out, because he was Derbyshire captain. And he also shouted cunt at me. Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word.
Yeah.
And then went into the Wollaston changing rooms and smashed the door and the wall and got himself in a lot of trouble. I don't think he's playing in the Derbyshire League anymore now. But this was only 2 years ago. No, this is only 2 years ago. But I really loved that opportunity at a later stage in my career to play against these players. And I just saw the fielding. And this is a massive thing. That back in my day, I was a good fielder. I know I was. But there weren't all good fielders. Like the bowlers would go down to third man and didn't want to field. Now, you watch the fielding in the top levels. They are absolutely on it. And they save so many runs. So if you can replicate that in Division 6 and Division 9 or whatever, and get your fielding good.
This is the thing what Paul Allen says, that you've got to be the best fielding team in the division. Yeah,
and that's exactly what I've seen. That's exactly right. Ticknall's fielding, exceptional. No one, Spondon's fielding, Ockbrook's fielding, the top sides are the best fielders.
Yeah.
And it's no coincidence.
It just intimidates the opponent.
Well, if I'm trying to tell my team to push singles, quick single, but yet the opposition's fielding is that bloody good you can't.
Yeah.
What do you do then? So then you've got to think of something else. So yeah, I think it's a massive thing fielding. So I saw that with Wollaston, and it was that again. Even at my late stage of life, it made me think fielding needs to be paramount in the preparation for this season. So, yeah, I mean, I'm hopefully going to play cricket for a few years yet, even though I'm getting on a bit. On the disciplinary, playing for Derbyshire over 50s, and giving everything to cricket as much as I can, really. But that's why this stupid fucking corona is doing my head in this year. As everybody else is, I assume.
Yeah. It'll be hard to get back into things when it does get going. Eventually.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait, I have to say. I don't know what form it's going to take, but I know full well that if we started in July, we'll be playing half a season. If we start in August, we'll be playing. The divisions will be split in two, and they'll be playing for a plate. The top two in each will play off. And if we get to September and they say you can play the odd game, then they'll be into club game or a friendly game. But one thing I have secured today, I believe, is a groundsman or someone to do the wicket for Belper.
Oh.
I've sent a message to Jamie. Jamie's got to ring him. But it's a woman I know called Marion, and it's her. She plays bowls at Rosehill Meths, and there's a groundsman at Rosehill Meths that she said would do as a job on the square, maybe.
Yeah.
So they think they're going to have a chat about that. I don't know what's going to come of it. Not much can come of it at the moment, I don't suppose. But,
no.
But at least it might be some option. I don't think it'll be very expensive.
That's quite good. Yeah. So we'll move on to the Room 101 feature.
Brilliant.
Three things that you either hate about cricket or want to change about cricket. What right. I'm sure you have many, but what?
No, not a great deal. I mean, we've talked about them, but I've got three things then. Right. So you tell me, bad umpires.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I was concerned as a bowler, if I hit the pads, it's out, right? I don't see why not. So that's my number one. What do you think to bad umpires?
I mean, they're infuriating. They're absolutely infuriating. A 70-year-old man can ruin someone, a 20-year-old man's weekend.
Yeah.
By one decision. You'd hope that they're not doing it intentionally.
I think the difference is, Mark, when you don't get umpires, which I hate, that's the one thing I'm worried about, I suppose, then there's a lot of so-called cheating, if you like, where one team say, well, they've not given us anything, we're not giving them anything, all that sort of stuff. So I'd rather have umpires than not.
Yeah.
I'll say that categorically. But if only they've got some common sense and decency and actually consistency, which is the big thing.
I think the big problem you have, like going on to like not having umpires in Division 6, is do they need 2 umpires in Division 4? Can there just
No,
be
I
one?
agree.
Can
I
there be
agree.
one standing umpire and the teams have to do it like that, so the spread of umpires goes further down
Yeah,
the
that
division?
makes so much sense. But umpires actually like going with their mate, and they like doing it together.
They do. And I know it can be a
Apart from
very
the
lonely
greedy
day
buggers,
for an umpire otherwise.
apart from the greedy buggers, Mark, because you know, like they get 40 quid each.
Yeah.
But if one does it on his own, he gets 60 quid.
Yeah.
So some people make it. Alan Payne, I think, makes a bit of a career out of umpiring. He umpires every day of the week. You know, we turn up at bloody Cheshire to play for Derbyshire. Alan Payne's umpiring. You know, you turn up all around the country. Alan Payne's at Durham, you know.
He did Derbyshire seconds last year. He umpired.
Yeah.
He umpired down there. Brian Hardy does it now. He'll umpire under 12s game in Shropshire.
Yeah. There's some people, only if they love the game and they're retired, fair play to them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
Didn't you take your umpire's course? Were you a listed umpire?
Yeah, that's the funny thing. It was 2009, and I didn't know if I would play again ever because I got that reactive arthritis, if you remember, when we went on holiday to Portugal.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't walk or anything for ages, and I couldn't.
That was a very injury, illness-prone holiday because.
Yeah.
You got ill. I was ill for most of the. I got swine flu or bird flu, whatever it was. So I was.
Yeah, and then you and Callum put Veet in Flash and Ian's suntan.
Yeah. Made him go even bolder. That was
brilliant.
Yeah.
But yes, that 2009 season, I didn't think I'd be playing, so I went and did an umpire's course, and I was going to be umpiring. And the ironic thing is, the game against Dunstall, when I got suspended, in the scorebook, in the handbook, I was supposed to be umpiring that game. Even though I told them I don't want to umpire in the Little Eaton games, by the way. First one they give me, Dunstall, Little Eaton, Dunstall. Ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, bad umpire. So is that going in? Is that going to go in room 101?
Yeah, I think the rules of cricket are very basic when you play it for that long. I've had you know the terrible umpires as well, don't you? You know when they turn up.
Well, that's what I say. You know your umpires, and sometimes there's no point being there.
Yeah, you know that sometimes they just favour some sort of bowlers. I think I have this theory that if an umpire was a batsman when they were in their career, they don't give any LBWs. But if they're a bowler, they give everything.
Yeah. Normal rule of thumb, yeah.
Yeah, bad umpires can get in the bin.
Right, okay. Point 2 then, and people are going to hate. Chris Whiteley might slightly disagree with me on this one, but players' unavailability.
Okay.
So this has been a bugbear of mine, football cricket, throughout my life, right? So the 7 days in a week, pick the other 6 days of the week to go on holiday or to work. Why do they have to do it on a Saturday? And if the missus wants to go shopping, let her go shopping. No, I don't understand that at all.
I think, as someone who's played pretty much every Saturday, barring injuries, for about 21 years now, I agree with you. Like, you make that commitment to play cricket.
It's a team game.
You know it's going to be on a Saturday. As I've grown older, I kind of get the points of holidays. If it's a 22 game season and you play 21 of them, I think that's acceptable.
I'll put it this way, Mark. You can go on holiday before the cricket season and after the season. You can go Monday to Friday in the week, which you ask Callum growing up, that's what we used to do. That's why I got divorced, probably. But no, seriously, the unavailability, I understand, but the unavailability to me, when you turn up on the pitch, you want your best 11 on the pitch. Every player looks around and thinks, well, he's not in our best 11. He's not. And then they say, why is he playing? Why is it? I say, well, because he's on holiday and he's at work, for example. What do you want me to do? And it's a bad situation for everybody. But to me, players' unavailability, biggest crime.
Yeah, I agree. Like from a captain's perspective, it is a nightmare. It always seems to be the same week that everyone's on holiday.
Yeah.
Like, why does everyone go the first week of August? You got like, even if it's a 6 weeks holiday, you got 6 weeks. Stagger it.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my second one.
But yeah, I agree with you.
Right. And the third one, which is a bit left centre, batsman not playing a shot. What's that all about?
Leaving the ball, or just
No,
letting it
well,
hit.
LBW, the padding up, basically. That's where it came from, as a leg spinner.
Yeah.
Batsman not playing a shot? Why do they bother taking a bat out with them if they're not playing a shot?
Yeah, yeah. I've seen it before. People just padding up. People have got this. Some batsmen have seen professional players padding up to like spinners,
Yeah.
and they thought, I'm going to do that, but
Yeah, it looks trendy, doesn't it?
have to be outside the line.
Well, to my mind, I understand early in an innings when a ball's nibbling about, you play the leave, right? And all good batsmen will tell you, if you manage to leave enough balls early doors that are really good balls that are going to get you out otherwise, probably, then that's the mark of a really good top order batsman.
There's leaving for a reason. It's like you can leave if you're learning the pace of the pitch.
Yeah. And also, Mark, if you're batting out for a draw and this is the last over and a bowler bowls you 5 balls outside of stump, you leave them all, right? Why would you play them if you're batting out for a draw in the current circumstances? So that I don't have a problem with. What I have a problem with is somebody who thinks it's better to use their pad than their bat. Because to my mind, if you're going to pad away a ball like that, you could have used your bat and scored a run. I don't understand why you wouldn't. I think it's a terrible rule. It shouldn't be allowed. And anyone that plays with the pad rather than the bat should be given out anyway, personally.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's the batsman's game, isn't it? So.
Yeah, that's my third 101 rule, I think. Because in general, I don't have a great deal of problem.
It's just a boring thing to do. More than anything. I have this big thing about it. Cricket's has got to be more interesting. Because numbers are dwindling in cricket, and you need to get people more involved. And when you turn up on you see someone doing that, you know, what am I playing this for?
Well, so my 3 101s are really quite well linked, aren't they? Because players are unavailable, but there might be more available, for example, if they weren't to ball. They wouldn't be so bored if batsmen weren't kicking away a ball, and they wouldn't be so pissed off if umpires weren't giving shit decisions.
Yeah.
So giving more for the people, the frail ones who can like it some weeks and not bother, not the ones that give 100% cricket and live and die by it, but the other ones that are borderline, they're more likely to play cricket if everything was sort of a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. This is like where people have had this discussion about like coloured kits and playing 40 over cricket and just the Derbyshire League. I mean, I'm sure there's other leagues around the country who play a weird amount of overs. But if someone, say, watches England on TV, they play 50 overs, and then you go, oh, come down and watch us at the weekend. And they sat there and it gets to the 46th over and everyone starts coming off and they're like, well, why are you coming off? You've got 4 overs still to go in here. You're like, no, we played 46 in this league. It's just not appealing because there's a lot of cricket rules that are just confusing. People don't get cricket because the rules can be confusing. Like trying to explain to someone about 4s and 6s and LBW decisions. It just goes over the head.
The purists like me grew up on Test cricket and love Test cricket.
Yeah, I'm the same. The longer the game, the better for me.
Yeah, it can get boring, but then it can be very exciting as well.
Yeah.
I watched the England-Australia Cardiff 2009 the other day when Panesar and Anderson batting out at the end. Brilliant game, absolutely brilliant game. There are some games that are just really, really crap, but that's the same in all walks of life and all different sports. But when I played for those games for Rolleston. We played the T20 games. They were in coloured clothing with pink balls, which is what they do.
Yeah, this is where I go. I change. Like on the Sundays where we play the 2020s,
Exactly, that's when to do it.
I would change all of them to coloured kits and pink balls. I wouldn't use white balls. I'd use pink balls.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you don't have the added costs of having to change the site screen to get.
Yeah.
At Belfort, we're fine. We've got the black things because we have Derbyshire games down there. But yeah, I go pink ball.
Yeah, pink balls, coloured clothing for sort of Sunday T20s, brilliant. And even for Butterley Cup or anything like that. And if the juniors want to do their thing like that, it's up to them.
I'd love it if I think you get more juniors playing cricket if they didn't have to. Well, I mean, the perception of people who don't play cricket is, why do you wear white kits? It's just like, what, you're all stood there wearing white.
I think historically, Mark, it's because it was deflected the sun, didn't it?
Yeah, and I think that is a simple solution to it. It's just traditional that we wear white clothing, but I think to get people playing and getting people involved, I think coloured kits is the way forward. It's not my personal preference. I prefer white kit, red ball, but
yeah,
I think for the future of the game, I think it is.
Well, if you offer them both, so you've got traditional cricket Saturday afternoon with the red ball and the white clothing, and then you've got the Sunday with the coloured clothing and the pink ball, it's a little bit more of a novelty. And then the families can go down as well. So the people that are playing Saturdays who are serious, people can go on a Sunday with the families and take a bottle of wine or whatever and sit with a rug, and it can be more like a day out. And then it's more like a carnival, like
I'd bring in a Friday night league. I think there should be a Friday night cricket league.
Yeah.
2020.
One thing with that is people playing Friday won't necessarily be fit enough to play Saturdays at my age, and they also you're limiting the weeks you can play because of the nights drawing in. So you can only play May.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be season long, but it'd be, say, regionalised. So you'd have four teams in each league. So like us, it'd be like amateurs, Meadows, Duffield, Ambergate. Your 4 local clubs. So everyone gets a night at their ground. Everyone plays a home game at their ground. The big example last year, that Meadows played their Butterley Cup semi-final on a Friday night against Fondon, and there was 150 people down there. It's the biggest most people I've ever seen down at Meadows. And
well, the finals are on Friday nights, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, the game it'd been raining for like a few weeks consecutively, and I think it was like, we've just got to play it this week, and they said, like, should we play it on Friday night? And it turned out to be an absolutely glorious night. Made loads behind the bar, put a barbecue on. It was just.
I don't disagree with you. I think it's quite a good idea, and I also think that people that are more inclined to be playing in semi-finals and finals of Butterleys and Jacksons and these things are going to be in the 20s anyway.
Yeah.
As a guess, and they're younger and they're fitter and they'll be able to play on the Saturday as well. So I think possibly.
It's not necessarily just like about the standard. Obviously, you want to play it to the best standard, but even not all your players aren't available, you don't have any rules about what players can play, as long as they are Belf Meadows players or are Duffield players.
Well, I've got an idea for you, Mark. Actually, I was thinking about this the other day. You've just reminded me to say this. Back in my day at Little Eaton, every year we used to go on a cricket tour to Devon, to Torquay, and play all these different clubs.
Yeah.
When I was at Homewood, we went on tour twice. Once to the Bristol area and played on the best ground I've ever played on in Bath, and once to a cricket festival last year before last, which was absolutely brilliant, by the way.
Yeah.
You've got more than, like you say, you've got four teams and whatever. They've got, at night time, they've got music on, and they've got an organised poker tournament on. They've got so many darts tournaments on in the thing. It's an absolute brilliant idea. So you can either host one or go on one. But I think as Belper, there's such a big club with a lot of people that all seem interested in the social side, I think it might be a cracking idea.
Yeah, there was talk of having one this year. And I know Ben Mills was looking into it to get somewhere. I think it's definitely viable. I think there's enough people who'd want to go on it. I'd love to go on a cricket tour. I'd love.
They've always been brilliant. No matter how the cricket is played, good or bad. And by the way, on that tour I went to Bristol area. There's some bloody good players around, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all about the socialising, the camaraderie, getting together.
Yeah,
you know.
It's something you remember, isn't it? It's just something you remember.
Nightclub in Torquay, and we were all dancing on podiums like pole dancers. And then during the daytime, we actually borrowed a car and got home to the hotel in the car, which somebody left the keys in. We just drove it around, left the keys still in outside the hotel, and phoned the police to tell them there's a car outside the hotel. They knew who it was, but it gave us a lift home for save us having to walk 2 miles. And but all funny things like that. But the tour was brilliant, you know. And every tour I've ever been on has been really good.
Yeah.
So I think as a group of people at Belper, I think it's ideal for something like that.
Absolutely. I'd love to go on one.
So it's obviously not going to be this year, but I think next year that might come into the planning, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think, there's a few people who want it. I think you definitely get a good 15 people wanting to go.
You need to
I'd happy to go and not play cricket. I'd just go.
Loads of people did things like that. But you need to have a 15, because at Little Eton we used to have 3 games. Most tours have 3 games. So you go on a Monday and you play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you come back on a Friday. That's the sort of thing everyone used to do. Well, those 3 games, there's not many players that will play all 3 on the bounce, because back in the day at Little Eton, anyway, they used to take the families with them. You know, so
Belper Meadows have a Welsh club that come every year, Moxter, I think they're called, and they have all their families come. They have a massive turnout.
Because especially for those people that say, "Oh, I can't come," you know, because I've got to spend family time. It's a classic, isn't it? Unavailability. Well, you can go on a holiday, you can have a tour, and yes, I'll play one of the 3 games. Well, yes, I'll play 2 of the 3. Some people never played any, but like you say, but you've got to have a core of people that want to play cricket. Yes. Yeah. But if you play 2 out of 3, if everybody played 2 out of 3, you could play 15, 16 people. You'd be fine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
anyway, I think definitely something to look into.
Just an idea. So I like my time away and my holidays and things. So I think it'd be brilliant.
Yeah, Blackpool 2021.
That's not my favourite place, I have to say.
We'll give it Skeggy 21 because my dad's got a chalet and a caravan in Chapel St Leonard's, so I'll just stay there for free.
Well, to be honest, I've got loads of clients as a caravan park owners in that neck of the woods.
There's some nice grounds out there.
And I went on there is. And I went on a golf trip with Hina, with people like Andy Breer and Josh Breer and people like that. And we had a cracking time in Skeggy, to be fair. Some, right dodgy sites and some stories to be told there, maybe.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's an horrendous place, but it is what it is, isn't it? It knows what it is.
But so I would probably prefer that we didn't go to Blackpool and Skeggy, but anywhere round the country, I'm sure you'll find somewhere that decent where there's plenty. Because everywhere's got cricket clubs anyway, so
yeah. But it's who you're with, isn't it? What makes it a good tour? Doesn't have to, you don't have to go to Manchester or Liverpool or Newcastle. You can go to Bodmin.
And I thought when I went to Bristol, I roomed with a guy called Jack Jarvis, who was a young kid at the time.
I've tried to sign Jack a few times.
Yeah, one of their best players now, young Jack.
With his homemade pads.
Yeah, absolutely the worst pads you've ever seen in cricket. But I didn't know Jack before I went on that trip, and me and him roomed together. We got on so well that to this day, and I'm talking probably 9 years ago that was now, we are, great mates and always winding each other up about Derby County, as I'm a Derby fan, and he's a Leeds fan. So we're always having quite a lot of banter there. Top lad, and because of that cricket tour, became really good friends with him.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't have done probably normally because we're nowhere near each other in age. But
I tried to sign him last year actually. Tried to bring him to Meadows last year because he's moved to Manchester, hasn't he? So.
He lives in Manchester, but he plays every week. Don't miss hardly any games.
Yeah.
But you might struggle getting him because he's quite in with the Homewood crowd.
Yeah, he said to me that I'm living in Salford now. I just go back to playing with my mates. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
argue.
he's a great lad. It fits in well at Belper.
Yeah.
But he's not a great player, you know. He's a fabulous fielder and a half decent batsman now. Not so sure about his bowling, but
Yeah,
Belper first team. I
I
don't
think
know
he
if
could do a
he,
job. I
he
think he could do a
probably
job.
he'd probably bat at 6 maybe then.
But getting the right coaching in him, working with Paul Allen.
Yeah, I mean he probably wouldn't get a bowl.
Well, he probably wouldn't train
Um,
if he's living in Salford. He's probably not going to come for a Tuesday night training session.
no, well that's the thing. But also it fits him in the Belper ethos of fielding because he's one of the best fielders I've ever played with.
Yeah,
Really, really good in the field.
yeah.
And a nice lad, so he fits in. But I don't think he get it, no. The honest answer. Anyway.
Yeah.
Is that about it? Because I need a wee.
Yeah, I'm going to go make my tea. So, yeah, it's been fascinating chatting.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I loved every minute of it, to be fair.
Yeah, I'll get it uploaded and be uploaded in a couple of hours. By the time it's converted and put on YouTube.
Oh, it's not live then now.
No, it's not live. I have to